Let me get 2 chicken thighs,
A rice gelato.
and a double cheeseburger. 1 Doritos Locos Taco.
Bomb cookies.
I don't want to live the rest of my life worried about counting calories.
Welcome back. This is Al Smith from TrainChange Fitness, and I'm glad that you have joined me for another edition of the all-in-one lifelong fitness training series. Now, just to be clear, make sure that you have watched the other videos in this series as they all build on top of each other. And what's going to happen at the end of this particular series, you will get 3 training tips in the areas of consistency, nutrition, and exercise that you can take and immediately apply and start seeing results. So that's the whole point of this. I need to give you the information and then give you the tips on how to properly apply them. So get ready, buckle in, and let's go. This is Al Smith signing off for now. Hoorah! See you later. Alright, so to begin with, we aren't going to throw the entire baby out with the bathwater. Remember in the beginning I said that the typical approach that people take when they start a nutrition plan or exercise routine is this 1-2 approach, this 1-2. And for now, I'm calling this is the execution phase. This is the execution. I'm also a software engineer, so you'll hear me using those terms. If you're a software engineer, you're going to recognize a lot of the logic here. Anyway, I digress. So let's do this. So that's the execution phase. What does this mean? That means when you go to the gym, you might get a new gym membership and you just start getting on the exercise. You want to train harder. You want to run faster. You want to lift all these weights. You go and try to do exercise in order to get in shape. You are just trying to do a calories in, calories out to burn off the weight. It doesn't work like that. Your body has a natural defense mechanism to prevent it from burning too many calories. And that's where most people make the mistake. They go straight to the execution and they do not go in with a strategy. Another example is when you may go into a gym and you'll see these trainers that are working with people that are out of shape and they have them doing these crazy intense exercises and the person is actually out of shape. They don't need to be doing that high level of intensity because their body just doesn't require that. But mentally, emotionally, we want to be active. We like seeing that high energy stuff. We like seeing the execution, but that isn't practical. That isn't practical just yet. You see, we have to go up higher. We have to go up higher, and I'll take you through these steps. We will go into customizing, we will go into implementing, we will go into strategy, but at the highest level, are the variables. You need to understand the variables of training. So let's take a look at it like this. When I say variables, I'm saying think of it in this abstract term of there's all of these options up here up top. There's A, there's B variable, there's C variable, there's D variable, there's E variable, there's F variable, there's G variables. So what are these variables? These variables are, think of the acronyms, high intensity, intervals, you want to go training, you want to go frequency. That's your exercise variables. In terms of nutrition, you need to think of glucose, you need to think of insulin, you need to think of glucagon, you need to think of ATP. All of these are variables that feed into your training routine. And then you have to go and think about your consistency as well. Are you going 3 days a week? Are you going 5 days a week? Are you going 2 a days? Are you going 3 a days? So you have to put all of these variables at the highest level. Now for me, what I tell people, I try to simplify it still by simply saying CNE. CNE stands for consistency, nutrition, and exercise. So let's break these down further. CNE. We have got to solve our consistency and our nutrition and our exercise problem before you can even execute. Let me say that again. You have got to solve your consistency, your nutrition, and your exercising problems before you can get down to execution phase. Do not just jump in here. Do not just jump into executing. You are going to waste your time. So, what are we talking about consistency? Here's the biggest mistake that a lot of people make. They come in and they think that if they work out 1 day a week, it's actually going to do something. No. They think if they're going to work out for 3 days a week, it's actually going to do something. No. You can barely get away with 5 days a week to see results. And here's why. The most basic explanation is that your body is like a rubber band. You need to pull it. You need to constantly apply tension to it. Constantly apply tension to it. That is what forces adaptation to occur. Constantly applying tension in a consistent manner, but at the same time in a smart and intelligent manner. You do not want to go and overtrain in your exercise and injure yourself. So if you want to see results, you have to be at the gym at least 5 days a week, all right? Let me say that again, 5 days a week. In fact, they even did a study not too long ago that said the only benefit to going to the gym 3 days a week is that it makes you realize you need to go 5 days a week. That is the minimum. Once again, though, people like to get in the execution phase. They get mentally revved up. They break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. What do? They go run 5 miles in this heat thinking they're going to do something effective. Wasting time. You're wasting time. So that is the consistency piece. So we're putting together our first variable. We will call that variable A. Then we got to talk about the nutrition piece. We've got to talk about the nutrition piece. So what are we talking about for nutrition? Well, right now, there are a lot of fad diets, and there have always been fad diets. Now, I started out back in the early 80s with this. The fad was low fat. Everything was low fat. Everybody was doing low fat, and just fat was your enemy. Well, now the new thing is carbs is your enemy. Carbs is your enemy. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Well, I'm telling you right now, you do not have to avoid foods like they are the plague. You have to eat in moderation. That, once again, is why you saw me doing the fast food program, just eating fast food. Because once you have your strategy in place, food isn't the problem. It's learning how to put it in your big picture strategy and implementing it, all right? But in understanding that, you need to realize how insulin works in your body. You need to understand how glucagon works in your body. For me, those are the two biggest things that I factor in. Of course, once again, there are more variables up there, but that is your nutrition. So on one hand, do I appreciate low carb diets? Yes, I do, because I believe they are the most effective. On the other hand, do I believe they are long-term? No, because they change things in your brain, such as your serotonin levels, different variables going on. And for me, they put me in a really cranky mood. And I'm so cranky, I can't function. I can't run a business. It's not worth being in shape. What type of lifestyle is that? If you're always in carb depletion mode and you're cranky, who wants to be around someone like that, regardless of how good you look? So we have to find that balance. That is the nutrition. We have to solve the nutrition piece, and we will call that just B for now, for simplicity. Next, we have to get into exercise. So what are we talking about exercise? Well, as mentioned, people love the exercise piece. Why do people love the exercise piece? Because it's the easiest thing for us to see. On top of that, it gives us the immediate hormone rush. It gives us the oxytocin, and it also gives us the endorphins. The endorphins are as powerful as heroin. That's why people get hooked on exercising. The problem is, when you do not exercise smart, your body releases cortisol. Oh, that's right. Cortisol is another variable that we need to take into account. And when your body releases cortisol, instead of actually building muscle, you are ripping muscle down. So you have to do smart exercise routines so that you are actually building up your muscles, building up your lean muscle and burning fat, and not tearing it down. That constitutes not undertraining, once again, going 5 days a week. At the same time, you do not want to go overtraining. One of the problems with overtraining, which people also neglect, is that they may like to do cardio and they just do a whole bunch of cardio, run for 1 or 2 hours, and they think, oh, you're doing such a good job, I'm gonna burn all these calories. Once again, that's linear thinking. That is linear thinking. More time at your exercise does not equate into more weight loss, because your body is going to defend against that by releasing cortisol. So we have to go and deal with the exercise strategy. So we are going to now call that C. So now you're understanding, you see how complex it is. There are a lot of factors that actually go into the weight loss and fat loss process, all right? So now I've been talking about strategy. What exactly is strategy? Well, we now have to go and factor in, what are your unique circumstances? How do we tie all of these in together so that one complements the other? All right, so let's take what you just learned and apply those to your training tips. So one of the biggest things that I see in the gym is when people work out, they tend to take long breaks in between their sessions or in between their sets. So what you should understand is that your body only needs about 2 minutes of recovery time from one exercise to the next. After about 2 minutes, you have pretty much gone, or you have pretty much exhausted the amount of recovery time that you're going to do. So by time boxing the amount of time in between your exercises, you can pretty much calculate how long you are going to be in the gym. So for consistency, if you are doing a particular exercise, you're going to get that exercise out, you're going to do it, rest, no more than 2 minutes in between. After you take that rest, that 2-minute rest, get back to it and knock it out. So what you're doing there is eliminating the amount of time that you have to spend in the gym. That improves your consistency. Second, you want to look at nutrition. How can you improve your nutrition to get a better workout? Go on an empty stomach. Go on a fasted state. All I can tell you right now in this particular piece is that if you eat or if you are drinking energy drinks during your training, you are spiking your insulin levels. So essentially all you are doing is burning insulin, when what you want to do is get to a state where you are having your body release glucagon. So for the nutrition training tip, you want to go to the gym on an empty stomach. Now keep in mind, I specialize in fat loss training. If you are training for, let's say, specific endurance training, sport specific training, or bulking up, your nutrition is going to be different. But for the area that I specialize in, if you want to lose fat, go to the gym on an empty stomach. Your last meal should be about an hour and a half to 2 hours before you get to the gym to keep your insulin levels under control. Well, you want to say, Al, I'm hungry when I get to the gym. Here's what you can do. Take some coffee, some black coffee or some type of caffeine. That will stimulate your central nervous system and shut down or suppress your appetite for at least the duration of your workout. So that is how you control nutrition, and you can immediately get more fat burning out of it. That's kind of even when the ketosis that they're talking about comes into play. Lastly, for your exercise tip, always make sure that you are going and training at proper form, using proper form. See, what happens when we reduce the amount of time, remember the first tip that I gave you, where I said you only want to have 2 minutes in between your exercises? Well, do not mistake that with just going and cranking these out and losing form, all right? You still want to have an efficient workout in terms of time, but you always want to have good form. And how I qualify form for the average or beginning person is you do not want to use momentum. There's no reason to use momentum to lift weights, because when you are using momentum, that energy is being dissipated in your joints. So you don't even have to use a lot of weights to see results. And anyone that has done this for an extended period of time will tell you it doesn't take a lot of weights to see results. In fact, when you go lighter, you can focus more on the muscle, but most people haven't learned how to focus and make that mind-body connection. So you want to be able to focus your muscle and use good form, not jerky, just so that you can say you added more weight. That's one of the problems when people jump right into doing exercises instead of learning how to use the variables or apply other techniques. If the only thing you learn how to do to lose fat or weight is exercise, then your only solution when you need to make progress is add more weight. So when you add more weight, you actually end up just increasing your probability of having an injury. So you want to always keep your weights under control, always maintaining good form. Momentum is never an excuse for lifting a weight. All right, so with that, I hope you enjoyed this particular series and those 3 tips for consistency, nutrition, and exercise. And I will see you at the next series. Hoorah! Al Smith signing out again. See you on the other side. I'm out of here.